n. That's what that does not mean, okay? When you see an exclamation point next to a number or a variable, it does not mean you say it excitedly, okay? This right here, this exclamation point, is the factorial. It means factorial. All right, what is factorial? Factorial just means, so if you look at 5 factorial down here, it just means you take that number next to the exclamation point, all right, and then subtract 1, and then keep subtracting 1 until you get down to 1 and multiply all those numbers together. All right, so n factorial is defined as 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times all the way up till n minus 1 times n. All right, now a special case of that is 0 factorial is equal to 1. And a quick explanation as to why that is, and I'm sure I'll get into this later on when we get into counting principles. All right, factorial is a good way to describe how to order things. So think of 3 factorial. All right, 3 factorial could be used to represent, all right, how many ways can I order these 3 books? I got a red book, a yellow book, and a green book. All right, now there's actually 6 ways to do it. Okay, because any of the 3 books could be the first book, and then once you assign one of these red, yellow, or green books to be the first book, there's only 2 left, and then you got 1 left over to be the last order. So there's 6 ways to do it. All right, and I'm going to pause the video and draw out all the ways real quick. Okay, so there they are. Those are the 6 ways to do it. And if there is a 4th book, let's say a purple book, then there'd be 24 different ways to order them. Now, how many ways can you order 0 books on a bookshelf? Well, there's one way to do it. You can have 1 bookshelf that's empty. All right, so that's a little just kind of anecdotal story of why the special case 0 factorial is equal to 1. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to use this stuff on the calculator, probably in another video, but let's play around with these by hand first. So a couple things with factorials. Be careful of the order. So the exclamation point only goes to what's directly to the left of it. So 2n factorial is not the same thing as 2n quantity factorial. So with 2n factorial, that would just be 2 times n factorial. Whereas 2 times n factorial would be that. So for example, if it was like 2 times 3 factorial, that really means 2 times 3 times 2 times 1. But 2 times 3 quantity factorial, so you do parentheses first. All right, factorial you do with multiplication and division. All right, that would equal 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. All right, and these are not equal. Okay, so just be aware of that. Then we have more. Now we can use them in sequences. So if we were writing out the first 5 terms of this sequence, all right, the first one's done for you here. Oops, sorry about that. Or what's happening? Okay. So you plug in 0, so 2 to the 0 power is 1, 0 factorial is 1, and you get 1. All right, so a sub 1 would be 2 to the first power over 1 factorial. So that would be 2 over 1. So a sub 1 would be 2. All right, pause the video real quick and figure out what these 3 are. Okay, so here are the answers on the right, just to get a feel for doing that by hand. All right, so as n gets bigger, factorials get harder to do in your head, right? Like anyone could do 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, but then try multiplying that by 6, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9. It gets big fast. So you want to know how to use the calculator with these. So I will show you how to do that on the calculator and a bunch of things on the calculator in the next video. But last thing on factorials is just a way you can simplify them without a calculator. So it's by working smart. So let's say we had 8 factorial over 2 factorial divided by 6 factorial. All right, if you wrote out 8 factorial and then 2 factorial and 6 factorial, you'll notice a lot of things cancel out. Like right here, 6 factorial over 6 factorial. Then we're just left with 56 over 2, and we get 28. So try these 2 examples here. Pause the video, and we'll finish this video with that solution. Okay, the first one, you see that 2 factorial in green cancels out with this part of 3 factorial. And then 6 factorial is really just 6 times 5 factorial, So that's going to cancel out with 5 factorial. So now we're left with just 6 over 3, and that simplifies to 2. Alright? And then the next one, we could see that since n factorial is 1 more than n minus 1, n factorial is just like in the previous example, n factorial is like n times n minus 1 factorial. And that's all going to cancel out with n minus 1 factorial. So this right here is just going to simplify to n. Alright? Thanks, and we got, I think, 2 more videos coming up.